Hey everybody, this is Andrew and welcome to episode 79 of the Jaguar podcast. In this episode, I'm going to be doing a Jaguars 2020 mock NFL draft. So let's jump into it. To start off with, again, hope I can entertain you guys. I know you're probably going stir crazy because of the coronavirus. We're all inside, cramped up together, not much to do. So I could hope, I can entertain you guys, keep you guys sane. If you're bored, stop by my Twitter feed at Jaguar Podcast. I'll try to put some interesting stuff up there for you. If you enjoy this content, subscribe to the channel. Give me a like if you enjoyed this podcast episode or video, and leave me a comment. Let me know how you feel about these Jaguar developments, and subscribe to the channel. Give me a like. Come by Apple Podcasts, leave me some feedback. I always appreciate it. All right, so let's jump into the mock draft here. I know you guys are going to think I'm a little crazy. I try to think a little bit outside of the box with these drafts, but, take it easy on me. I know everyone has different opinions about these drafts. So let's jump into it. Round one, Jaguars, they have a, 2 first-round picks. They're picking at number 9 and number 20. But this might change, and I'll tell you why. Because we have franchise-tagged Yannick Ngakoue, and I think we're definitely going to be trading him for draft picks because, we don't want to get into that whole situation where he's holding out and he doesn't end up playing. So what I think will happen, and this is just me, but I think Ngakoue will be traded with, maybe a second round pick to Detroit because they have a number 3 pick in the first round. And I think with that, we can go for Chase Young. Now, some people think Washington's going to get Chase Young, but I think we should really try to go for him in the first round, do that trade. And then we have, essentially someone who will play, I feel like, up to par with Ngakoue, and I think it's worth it because this guy, he's just a great outside pass rusher. He has, he's kind of like Ngakoue in a lot of senses, where he's really good with the strip, sacks, and then he's good with the run as well. And I think it would be, just a great trade situation. So I think that's what they should do. Jacksonville also has pick number 9. I think they should go with Okudah or C.J. Henderson at the cornerback position. I really think they're both almost equivalent. I mean, I want to say, the only difference to me that I see watching the highlight films of them both is that Okudah is probably a better open field tackler, but I think they're both good cornerbacks. So I would go with either one. It looked like C.J. Henderson had some more interceptions. Turnovers, that's always a great thing as well. But Okudah, I feel like they're both almost equivalent, both the same size. I believe they're just about 6 feet tall. And I think it would just be a great addition. We're definitely going to need it because we need to fill that void at the cornerback position because we weren't able to re-sign a free agent, cornerback, with the departure of A.J. Bouye. And that's really just kind of been a disaster for Jacksonville. But I'll touch on that and some of the other episodes or a future episode where I talk about the whole Darqueze Dennard situation. But so we go to pick number 20 in the first round. I'm going to go with an offensive tackle, and I'll tell you why. Because Cam Robinson, our left tackle, will be a an unrestricted free agent in 2021. Cam has been a fairly decent left tackle. He's had some problems with injuries, but I think he's been fairly decent when he's healthy. But I think we need to kind of hedge at the left tackle position because he may ask for the world with money. and we don't want to be in that situation. So I think it's best to build that draft capital, draft at offensive tackle, and there's been some other offensive tackles out there that we could draft from, but I think Mekhi Becton from Louisville. I think he's the guy I'm going to recommend because he's just a big guy. He's 6'7", 368. Plays left tackle, and this guy just has so much potential when I watch his highlights. I mean, he reminds me of almost like Leonard Davis or an Eric Williams from the Cowboys who played left tackle, and the guy's just massive. He's got great hands. He's real long arms, so he can get separation when he's blocking those defensive ends. His technique really isn't as good in college, but I think he's one of those players that can be coached. I feel like he can learn a lot playing behind, Cam Robinson and, getting reps and watching, Cam play during the regular season. He's got, 1 more year essentially before he becomes a free agent. So I really think that the Jaguars should go with him at pick number 20, go with Mekhi Becton from Louisville, because I think we really need to hedge at the left tackle position. So those are my thoughts on the first round. We'll go to we will go to the second round, but I'm going to transition there because I think that we should trade for Jalen Hurts, and let me explain this. We'll trade a third round pick and 2 fourth round picks to get the second round 39th pick. And I'll tell you why, because I think Jalen Hurts will go at that spot likely. I really think we need to hedge at the quarterback position. I do like Gardner Minshew, but who knows? Just heart and balls, man. Heart and balls. Who knows what's going to happen? With Gardner Minshew. I think the jury's still out on his, whether he's going to be the franchise quarterback or not. And I feel like Jalen Hurts is untapped talent. He's got a lot to play for. I feel like he's got a little bit of a chip on his shoulder, like Gardner Minshew had. And some people have been kind of giving me flack about, saying, let's go with Jalen Hurts. Let's draft, a quarterback, and let's draft Jalen Hurts. Why not, Josh Herbert? And I feel like, he's almost to me like a potential Russell Wilson. He doesn't have the size, ideal size of a quarterback. He's a little short, kind of like Gardner Minshew. But he's got pretty decent arm strength. He could run, and that's what we see a lot in these new offensive schemes in the NFL. So I feel like it's a good way to hedge at the quarterback position. I think you can learn a lot from Gardner Minshew because they're pretty similar in terms of size, and style. I feel like Gardner Minshew could, read defense a little bit better than Jalen Hurts, but I feel like Jalen Hurts has a lot to play for, and I think could bring a lot of value to the Jacksonville Jaguars. So I think we should trade, a third and 2 fourth round picks for Jalen Hurts because I don't think we really need a lot in the fourth round. So that's really my opinion on that. So we go down to the third round. Like I said, we draft Jalen Hurts. And then we go down to the fourth round, which, like I said, we trade those 2 picks along with a third to get Jalen Hurts. So we wouldn't be drafting there. We go to the fifth round, and we have the 166th pick. And my pick there is to go with Lamacall Perine, running back from Florida. I think we need to go draft at the running back position because who knows what's going to happen with Leonard Fournette. I feel like with the whole Ngakoue situation, the culture kind of disconnect at the Jaguars organization, and them, not deciding to pick up his 5th-year option yet. I feel like Fournette could be, on the outs with the Jaguars. So, And he also shares the same agent or the same agency as Ngakoue. I think it's Rock Nation Sports. So, depending on how the next season goes, Fournette could be out the door. I don't want that to happen. I'm a huge fan of Leonard Fournette, and I feel like he's a power back. He almost reminds me of Fred Taylor in some senses, and I think this franchise needs. We need a power back that we can rally behind. So I don't want to see him go, but I feel like we do need to hedge at the running back position. I do not feel like Rock Armstead is going to be the guy that could fill the void for Leonard Fournette. I feel like he's kind of a third down back, one of those guys that will give Leonard Fournette some rest, maybe almost like a TJ Yeldon. But I think, I like, watching, Perrine's highlights. I feel like he would be potentially could be that replacement back for Fournette if he decides to leave. So I say we go for him in the 5th round with our 166 pick. Then we go to round 6. We have the 189th pick, and I think we go with offensive line. We go with Jake Hansen from Oregon. He's a center. I love this guy, his highlights. I feel like, who knows what's going to happen at the center position with Brandon Lindner, and I think he's heading to free agency after next season. So, we do have Tyler Shatley, but, I think we need a young guy, and I think Jake Hansen is the guy. He's a nice, nice run blocker, and, I think he can definitely make an impact there. So I think we should draft at the center position and hedge there. Then we go to the 207th pick in the 5th round. I say we go at the safety position. We draft Geno Stone from Iowa. Man, this guy, he's a great open field tackler. He's got great speed. Who knows what happens with, like I said, with free agency. We have Ronnie Harrison and Jared Wilson there, but I think we need to hedge there and go with this guy. He's just great open field tackler. He's got great speed, and I think that's definitely something we can add to the secondary. So that's who I think we should go with at 207. Pick 207 in the 6th round. And then round 7, to close out, we have the 224th pick. Again, I think we go at offensive line, and we go with John Runyon Jr., from Michigan. He's John Runyon's son. And for those who don't know who John Runyon is, he is a famous Philadelphia Eagles offensive line, had an amazing career with the Eagles, and I like this guy. I've seen his highlights. He's a very versatile offensive lineman. He can play a bunch of positions. He can play tackle. He can play center. He can play guard as well, and that's really where I think we should draft him and put him at, because who knows what's going to happen with the whole Andrew Norwell situation, and he's just a plug and play player, and we need that right now because Norwell is just didn't play very well last season, and he's also getting that monster contract. So I think we should cut him, but we haven't seen that happen yet. But maybe Runyon Jr., John Runyon Jr. can step in and provide some depth at that position. So I say we go with him in round 7 for the 224th pick. But that's kind of my mock draft. That's kind of how I feel about it. Call me crazy. Let me know how you feel about it. You can troll me, leave some comments, give me some feedback, on this YouTube video or podcast episode. Give me a like if you enjoyed this content. Stop by Apple Podcasts. Leave me some feedback. It always helps me when I put these episodes together. And if you're bored, again, come by my Twitter feed at Jaguar Podcast. Subscribe to the channel. Stay safe. Wash your hands. Stay away from coronavirus. Go Jags, and I'll see you next time.